Yeah? The natural mud. Example, nu, hi, ha. Waw with a dhamma before it, ya, a kasra before it, and an alif with a fatha before it. Nu, hi, ha. You read it without the mud, it is impossible. It becomes nuhiha. Nuhiha. Okay? It's impossible. So to read it, it's the natural mud. Nuhiha. When you're reciting Quran, that's why the teachers normally mention that don't try to elongate every haraka like Alhamdulillahi, because you're adding a mad asli on every haraka. The other type of mad, the second category, is known as far'i. Okay, so far'i is not a natural mad. Far'i mad needs a cause, a sabab, a reason to exist. There's two reasons why it exists. One is an hamza, the second is a sukun. And these two, they come after the mad letter, the alif or the waw or the ya. Okay, so the first type of far'i, which is divided into 5 categories. There's 5 of them in total. The first one, Mutasil. So Mutasil just means joint, connected together. Okay, like for example, the mad letter alif and the hamza after it are in a single letter, single word. Because they're in a single word, okay, it's going to be called Mutasil. The hukm is 4 harakat. I'm just doing a quick recap. The second type is Munfasil. Munfasil means detached, yeah, detached, broken, separated, yeah, infisal, divided. Like bima, the alif, the mad letter, is in the first word. The fatha is before it. Ma. Bima. Unzila, the hamza is in the following word. They're both divided. Okay? And this mad is known as munfasil. The hukm is either 2 or 4. Not between 2 and 4. Yeah? Either you make it long as 2 haraka or 4 haraka. The next one, mad al-arid lis-sukun. Okay? The mad that comes on the temporary sukun. Temporary sukun meaning when you're reciting the Quran and the last letter you're making it temporarily sakin. Okay? Like ta'lamun. Naturally you will read it as ta'lamuna. When you're reading as ta'lamuna, that mad there would be a asli mad. Nasta'inu is an asli mad. But as soon as you decide to eradicate, delete temporarily the last haraka and make it a sakin, then it becomes a mad arid lis-sukun, a temporary mad. For this you have 3 options: 2 haraka, 4 haraka or 6 haraka. But remember, consistency is important. So if you're reading Quran on 2 haraka, you need to maintain it as 2 haraka. If you're reading it as 4 haraka, maintain it at 4. Same with your waqf. Yeah? So you can't be reading as Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Then Maliki Yawmiddin. And keep changing it. Okay? Fourth one, Madul Badal. Badal means to change, exchange, swap. Okay? This is where the hamzas actually come before the alif. In the previous 3 examples, the first 2 examples, the hamza was following the alif. Now, the alif is following the hamza. They've swapped around. This change is known as Badal. Hence why it's called Maddul Badal. Like Imanan. Imanan. The Hamzas come first. The Mad letter is afterwards. Yeah? Imanan. Or like Amanu. The hukum of this is again 2 harakah. Okay? So there's only 2 harakah. The last one is known as Maddul Lazim. The Mad Lazim is the permanent Sukun. The Lazim referring towards permanent, not permanent Sukun, not Lazim Mad. Yeah? So it doesn't mean that the Mad is Lazim, that you must do it. You have to do it anyway. Yeah? Because this is wajib. Same as the first one. So Lazim refers towards, there's a permanent Sukun within the word Kaffa. Like Al-Haqqah. Mal-Haqqah. Permanent Sukun in there, so you can't eradicate it, delete it, shorten it. That's Mad Lazim. Mad Lazim hukm is 6 harakat. Now, if you notice, there's no mad here longer than 6. Okay? There is no mad longer than 6 harakat. So when you hear somebody reciting Quran and they're reading وَالسَّمَاءِ وَمَا بَنَاهَا, wrong. Might sound nice, but it's wrong. Okay? Because the maximum is 6 harakat, 6 harakah, not longer than 6. And even in Mad Arid al-Sukun, 6 harakat. Any questions on that? That's what was covered yesterday. Any questions? Yeah, 2 or 4 or 6. Yeah, option. So as you wish. If you're reciting the Quran fast, okay, say you're memorizing the Quran, what do you do at 2? Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Malik Yawmiddin, Iyaka na'budu wa Iyaka nasta'een, Ihdina as-Sirata al-Mustaqim. 4, when you're reading a bit slower. 6, when you're contemplating upon the meaning. Yeah, you're thinking about the meaning, what you're actually reciting. In Taraweeh, you do it at 2. You do that at 2. And you'll save a lot of time. Any other questions on this? So this diagram, you can find it on page number 79. Page number 79. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to delete all of it. I'm just going to put Mad Lazim in the center now, because obviously I don't have space to continue. Okay? But don't forget the image. So Mad, 2 types. Asli, Far'i. Asli is original Mad. Asli. It's always going to be 2 harakah. Okay? Mad Asli is always going to be 2 harakah. Yeah? It's a natural Mad. Far'i, and Mad Asli does not need a cause, sabab. It doesn't need a reason to exist. It's natural. It's going to be there. That's the Asli. That's the type 1. Type 2 is Far'i. Far'i means it needs a reason to exist. What are the reasons for Mad to exist? Far'i, 2. Hamza and Sukun. Okay? Okay. The first type, Mad Mutasil, it's a Hamza. Mad Munfasil, Hamza. And then Mad Badal, Hamza, which is the 4th one. Okay? Then there's 2 which are Sukun. Which ones are the Sukun? Mad Lazim and Mad Arid lis Sukun, the temporary Sukun. So just try to picture that in your head, repeat it to yourself, you won't forget it. I've never learnt this. It's because teaching again and again and again and again and again, it sticks to your head. So teaching again and again, meaning you're repeating it again and again and again. So Constantly repeat it. So you got Mutasil, example of Mutasil, like Ja, Mad Mutasil. Munfasil, like بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك. مد عارض للسكون, like تعلمون, يعلمون, مفلحون. مد البدل آمنوا وإيمانا, إيمانا. مد لازم like الحاقة or كافة. And there were 6 harakat in this one. Now, mad lazim then is divided again. So your mad lazim divided into 2 groups. So first one, ilmi. Second one, harfi. It might be the other way around. I have to put it in the book. Doesn't make a difference. So mad lazim, page 75. They begin aqsamu lazimin. Aqsam, the types. Aqsam is the word plural for qism. Okay? Qism is one type. Aqsam, loads of types. So aqsamu lazimin. Aqsam of the mad lazim. Ladayhim arba'a. You'll find how many? 4. Okay? There are 4 types of mad lazim. وَتِلْكَ كِلْمِيٌّ وَحَرْفِيٌّ مَعَ. Yeah? And they are basically combined into what? 2 groups. Kilmi and harfi. Now, kilmi, not kill me, like murder me. Kill me, it's word. Harfi, letter. So I've divided into 2 groups. They've just said, لديهم how many? أربعة. There's 4. I divided into 2. Why? Because beneath each one, there's another 2. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. You see why they say لديهم أربعة? They're talking about this level. There's 4 types. 4 types of mad lazim. 4 types of mad lazim, even though it's divided into 2 groups. Make sense? Then they mention كلاهما مخفف مثقل. That they are divided into مخفف light, مثقل heavy. So this mad is divided into 4, okay, and they are from what? مخفف and مثقل, meaning here we'll have مخفف, here we will have مثقل. Here مخفف. Here مثقل. So Mad Lazim divided into two groups. Group one, a Mad Lazim in the form of a word. Second one, in the form of a letter. Each one of these, so kilmi, yeah, can be either mukhaffaf or musaqqal. It can be light or it can be heavy. Harfi, Mad Lazim in the form of a letter, can be light, mukhaffaf, can also be musaqqal. So don't try to get confused on why is that mukhaffaf and that mukhaffaf, why is that musaqqal and that one musaqqal as well. Yeah? It's nothing to do with the it's nothing to do with collectiveness, the individual. So Mad Lazim harfi musaqqal, Mad Lazim harfi mukhaffaf, Mad Lazim kilmi مثقل, مد لازم كلمي مخفف. So I'll explain to you what each one is with examples. Then they mention فَإِن بِكِلْمَةٍ, when it happens to be in a kalima, in a word. Yeah? سُكُونُ نِجْتَمَعَ, that the sukoon has gathered together. مع حرف مد, with the letter of mad. فهو كلمي وقع, meaning if the mad and the sukoon are united in a word, then kilmi is born. Mad kilmi, Mad Lazim kilmi is born when they are both in one single word. Let me give you an example so you understand. So, for example, الحاقة, okay? الحاقة. Alif, after it is a sukoon, and it's in the form of a word. Yeah? So that's going to be known as Mad Lazim Kilmi, meaning it's in a word, in a shape, in a form of a word. Mad Lazim Harfi, a letter. For example, in the Quran, Noon. Okay? وَالْقَلَمِ وَمَا يَسْطُرُونَ. Noon. When you open this up, yeah, so it's a permanent sukoon. Noon. Noon. Pardon? Yeah. حروف المقطعات. That's the only time we're going to see a harfi. Yeah, Mad Lazim harfi. Like Seen in Yasin. So in the Quran it says Yasin. So this Seen is and this sukoon here is permanent. It will never be seen na, seen nu, seen ni. You never read Yasinu wal Quran al Hakim or Yasina wal Quran al Hakim or Yasini. You don't. It's Yasin wal Quran al Hakim. Make sense? Any question on that? You understand what a harfi now is, yeah? When they say Mad Lazim in a single letter, how can it be in a single letter? Meaning in the name of the letter, because that's the letter. What's this letter called? Noon. That's the letter Seen. What is it called? Seen. Remember one thing, when you're teaching, there's three aspects to a letter. Any Arabic letter, there's three aspects to it. Number one is the symbol, shakal. Number two is the name. And the last one, sound. That's of every single Arabic alphabet. Yeah? So for example, symbol, that's just a lakir, just a scribble. That's what it looks like. But it could also look like this as well. It could also look like that as well. For example, yeah? They can change shape, angles, it can vary. So that's the shakl, that's the appearance, how it looks. What's the name of it? Yeah? What's the sound? Mad. Elongation. Okay. Say for example, letter Jim, yeah? That's what it looks like. The name is Jim. What's the sound? No, that's the name. Aaron? No. What's the sound of Jim? No, sound, not makhraj. How do you read it? Ja, 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 ja. That's the sound. Yeah? The sound is ja, ja. So like ja. That's the sound. Okay. How can you prove that? How can you teach a child where do you find the sound of the letter? So why is it ja and not ma? Because it's got ma in there as well at the end. Jim, ma, ma, ma. So why not recite it as ma? So who chose ja as a sound, not ma as a sound? Look at the name. Okay, the ruling is every single sound of the Arabic alphabet is found in the beginning of its name. For example, if I said, pick another one, say like dal. So the sound is not la, la, la. It's going to be in the beginning, dal. Yeah? What happens when you get to, and it's written as, what happens here? So it should be in the beginning. So Hamza should be pronounced as ha. Why isn't it? The ulama mention this qaida, this ruling, this theory works for every single letter except for Hamza. Except for Hamza and Alif. Because Alif is a mad letter. Alif don't have a sound. Yeah? And same with Hamza, it's called something else, the sound is different. Okay. Only Alif from the mad letters doesn't have a sound. Ya does have a sound. Like Yahya, ya. It's got a sound. Waw has a sound like Walladina. Okay? But when waw and ya has a Sukun on it, they will become like alif and become silent. Yeah? Mad. Bi. Boo. It becomes a mad letter. But they independently do have a sound as well if there's a fatha dhamma kasra on it. Whereas alif, when it gets a fatha dhamma kasra, what happens to it? It becomes an hamza. It switches to an hamza. Because alif itself doesn't have no sound. Make sense? So symbol, name, and sound, and you can write the whole Arabic alphabet, yeah, and go through it. The only two that you're gonna find confusion on is alif. Alif doesn't have a sound, and hamza, because the three don't work. The first letter in its name is an hamza. So seen, the sound is in the in the beginning, yeah, not in the noon. Even though that's what the sukun is. Now, not every single Arabic alphabet letter we're going to deal with it as Mad Lazim Harfi. Why? Because we don't find it in the Quran. Like Ba, Ta, Sa, they're not Mad Lazim. So when do we actually find a Mad Lazim then? When is the Sukun? Because Ba, is that Mad Lazim? Why? No. It is a Mad though, Ba. Okay? But for it to be a Lazim, what do we need? Permanent what? Sukun after it. But we don't have the permanent Sukun. What type of Mad is this? Asli, the natural one, Ba, Ta, Tha. Okay? So for it to be a Mad Lazim, there must be a Sukun after it. So we need a letter, a Mad letter, and a Sukun letter. So that will be your, say, letter, Mad, and then a Sukun. Meaning you're going to need a letter that has three letters in its name. Like Sin, S, that's the letter. Ya is the Mad. Noon is the Sukun letter. Hence why you're going to get Sin, Jim, Ya, Mim, Jim, Sheen, Ya, Noon, Sheen. It has to have three letters in its name. Okay, like Noon, Noon, there's three letters. So every single letter in the Arabic alphabet that has three letters in its name, this can be applied to except for which letter? Except for Alif. Perfect. Why? Alif, letter 1, Lam, letter 2, Fa, letter 3. But look what I had written here. Okay, Alif, so the last one is Sukun. That's correct, yeah? Give that a tick. That's a letter. Okay, we'll give that a tick. Second one is not a Mad. Lam is not a Mad letter. So the theory is not going to work. Make sense? Yeah? So except for Alif, the rest of the entire alphabet, whichever letter has three letters in its name, okay, it's going to be Mad Lazim Harfi. Make sense? Any questions? Um, okay, now next thing. So the mention here فإن بكلمة سكون اجتمع مع حرف مد فهو كلمي وقع أو في ثلاثي الحروف وجد أو في ثلاثي meaning try three, yeah, in its name, what I just mentioned now to you. Line number 4. أو في ثلاثي الحروف وجد is found والمد وسطه, and the mad letter is in the middle. Yeah, so 1, 2 and 3 letters. The number 2 is a mad letter, so ruling out alif, so alif can't be part of this. فحرفي بدأ, then it's going to be حرفي. Mad Lazim حرفي. كلاهما مثقل إن أدغما. So you know this مثقل, both of these مثقل ones I've written, yeah? They've written that if in the whole process of this mud there's an idgham, you know that famous word idgham again, that we started off in Nun Sakina, idgham. Till here we've still got idgham. Yeah? It doesn't want to leave us. So if there is a tashdeed involved, then it's going to be what? Musaqqal. Meaning the noon has come in the form of a shadda. Yeah? Then it's going to be heavy. مخفف كل إذا لم يدغم, and it's going to be مخفف light if there's no idgham involved. Page 76, where you've got the examples now. Sorry, 77. So let's go for this one. مد حرفي مخفف, for example, قاف. I'll use, which is basically So I've written 4 examples out for you. So let's start with the muthaqqal ones, the heavy ones. So this one here, if I break it up for you, this is basically so I've just written the actual mud. What are dadeen? So basically dad, fatha, the alif. If there was no lam after it, yeah, that would be what? Mad asli. Okay. The mad far'i, it needs a hamza or a sukun. Here we have a sukun in the form of tashdeed. Yeah? And it's permanent. It's never going to go away. inside that tashdid, inside the lam. But now, dad, fatha, alif, lam, mushaddad becomes Mad Lazim. It's in a word and it's musakkal because it's in a tashdid form. So when you read this now, this lam is going to be recited heavy, musakkal. When you read it, وَلَضَّالِّينَ. Yeah? So now you know why people go وَلَضَّالِّينَ. Musakkal. The l sound is with the heaviness. وَلَضَّالِّينَ. الْحَاقَّةُ. Huh? Ha. No. You can't read it as kah. Can you? Yeah. Unless you're going to do it in different riwayah, ki. So, musakkal, the mad. But which part of the mad is musakkal? One of da is because of the letter dad. When we're talking about the heavy, we're talking about the end of it. L. Emphasis. Here you got alif. There's no mad in there. Alif lam mim. Beginning of Surah Baqarah. Alif, there's no mad. Lam, does it have a mad in there? Yes. The lam is Mad Lazim harfi. So how are you going to read this? Lam. Light. Then mim. Mim. Light. Yeah? Both of them are lam and mim are light. Okay. But what happens in, remember what we talked about? Idgham. We said Idgham has 3 types, which were Siamese twins, relatives, siblings. Okay. So, Siamese twins, what are they? Completely identical in characteristics. Perfect. Yeah? Why? Because they're Siamese twins, they're twins. Remember that? Yeah? So now look here. There's a meme here and there's a meme here. What are we going to do here? The good old idgham again. Idgham. How do you do the idgham? What are the conditions? The first letter has to be sakin. So this one here, is that a sakin letter? No, this one here. Alif, lam. For it to be a mad harfi, it has to have a sukoon. This is sukoon already. Yeah? Alif is already a sukoon. Mim is a sukoon as well. Yeah? And that's why there's a mad here. There's a mad here. Makes sense? Now, the first mim has a sukoon. The second mim has a kasra. Mim. Right? Mim has a kasra. So can we do idgham on that now? What was the ruling on idgham? The first letter has to be sakin. The second one has to be mutaharrik, has to have a fatha dhamma kasra. You can't join 2 sakin letters together. It's impossible. The first one sakin, second one's got a fatha dhamma kasra on. The first one, we take it, put it into the second one. Yeah? Yeah. And the second one, we'll give it what? A shadda. So can we do that here? Yes, we can. Yeah, it fits the formula. Yeah, the first one's sakin, second one's got a kasra on it. We can take the first meme, put in the second one, and give it a shadda. So let's try that then. So now this is going to be written as Does that make sense? Because that's how we read it in the Quran. How do you read that? Read that in Surah Baqarah. Do we say Alif, Lam, Mim. No. We actually do that. We actually read that. Alif, Lam, Mim. So now the Lam Musakkal. Why? Because the Sukun here was light. In the first scenario here, the Sukun was light. Soon as we done Idgham, it's gone in the form of a Tashdeed, Shadda. Shadda is Musakkal, heavy. So now when you read it, we're going to read it as Alif, the Lam Mim. Make sense? Make sense? It does make sense, yeah? Perfect. So basically, whenever the Mad Lazim is in the form of a Tashdeed, it's going to be heavy. Okay? Wal-Dhalin, heavy. Why? It's in the Shad. So wherever you see a Mad Lazim and the Tashdeed after it, automatically it's going to be heavy. Now you can't read Alif Lam Mim as Alif Lam Mim. La Mim. No. Why? Because you haven't done the Tashdeed. You can't read Wal-Dhalin. Because you haven't done the Idgham. You haven't merged it. Dhalin. Incorrect. So now when you're reading namaz to yourself in Salah and you're reading Surah Fatiha, majority of the time you're going to be reading it as Wal-Dhalin. Wal-Dhalin. The next time you reciting Surah Fatiha on your own, try to concentrate and see what you're actually reading. Surat al-Ladin an'amta alayhim ghayr maghdubi alayhim wal-dhalin. Qul huwallahu ahad. Yeah. So you're going to be reading it incorrect without this. And this is Mad Lazim. And what was the hukm of Mad Lazim? Same as Mutasil. Remember the one I've written here? Wajib. Wajib meaning it must be done. You can't take it away. Yeah? You cannot miss it. It has to be done. So, Sukun, first letter, Mim. Second one, Mutaharrik. You take the first one into the second one. You're going to give the second what? A Tashdeed. As soon as you give it a Tashdeed, it's going to become Musakkal. If you didn't do the Idgham, then it's light. Alif, Lam. It's light. Mim on its own is light. But as soon as you bring them together, it becomes heavy. When is that relevant to us? When do we need this? Only in the beginning of certain surah. Yeah? Only in the beginning of certain surah. And not all of them as well. So the surah, the chapters in the Quran, so surah is one, surah, Jam'a, not surahs. You know, we say like, yeah, how many surah do you know? Yeah? Or I know 10 surahs. Surahs don't exist. There's surah, plural of surah. Suratun, uduranta marbuta is one. And surah, plural. Hence I keep saying surah. So there's loads of surah in the Quran that begin with huruful muqatta'at. These are known as huruful muqatta'at. Huruf, which is the plural of harf. Harf is one, huruf, many, okay? Plural. The muqatta'at is from the word qata'a, cut, meaning they're not actually words, they're just random letters like ya and sin. What's ya and what's a sin means nothing to you and I. Yeah? What's ta, ha? Nothing. Kaf, ha, ya, ain, sad? Nothing. It means nothing to you and I. Yeah? Only Allah and His Messenger knows the meanings of huruf al-muqatta'at. We don't know nothing about these. So to us they're just letters. And they're called muqatta'at because they're divided. They haven't been put together in a sequence that we can comprehend. Like for example, If it was if that was حروف المقطعات را ضاد واو ألف نون, but is that written in a form that we can understand? It says Radwan, it's the name of the angel of Jannah, the one who's going to let you come inside. Yeah, so Radwan, it makes sense now. Yeah, but if that was just a ra on its own, or and then waw, alif, noon, random, it don't make sense. Like noon wal qalami wa ma yasturun, yasin wal Quran al Hakim. It don't make sense to us. Hence why it's called Mukatta'at. Makes sense? Or it don't make sense? So this is the musakkal part. Now there's also mukhaffaf, the light. So light one is without the tashdeed. For example, the letter one is on its own, like mim, lam, on its own, like qaf, qaf, not qaf. It's not musakkal, it's not full mouth, it's not, you don't raise your tongue or anything. Yeah, like noon wal qalami wa ma yasturun. Taha, ta, is very light. That's what mukhaffaf is. Here, now this is the example of it in a word. How do I recite this word here? So it's Hamza, Fatha, Alif, with a Sukun after it. It's a permanent Sukun on the Lam. So how are you going to recite this? Al-ana. Not al-ana. There's no tashdid. So on the Lam, you're just going to touch it and you can move on. Very light. Al-ana. Understood? Okay. How many examples of these can you think in the Quran? Many. I wouldn't say in the hundreds. There's quite a few. Alif Lam Mim Ra. مثلا. So you will find this in the beginning of the surah of the Quran. How many times are you going to find that in the beginning of the Quran? Quite a few times. Noon, Qaf. Okay. You're going to find that a few times as well. How many times are you going to find this in the Quran? Huh? Loads. Al-Haqqa, Kafa, Dabba. Loads in the Quran. This is the majority, yeah, which is the Mad Lazim, Kilmi, Musakkal. The last one at the end, Mad Lazim, Kilmi, Mukhaffaf, Al-Ana. How many times are you going to find that in the Quran? A few times, but it's always going to be that word. Comes once in the Quran. I forgot to say, did you know? Okay. This word comes, it's the only word in the Quran. Yeah? Only word in the Quran that where it's a Mad Lazim, it's in a word, Kilmi, yeah? And it's Mukhaffaf. There's no tashdid in it as well. The only one in the whole Quran. Al-ana. Only one in the Quran. What a Daleen, equivalent to that, there's many. Qaf, equivalent to that, there's few. And Alif Lam Mim, there's a few.
What if there was another?
Yeah, so, no. Look, it doesn't affect you. Now imagine there's a ra after this now. Are you going to do idgham between a mim and a ra? Because think, the three categories of idgham. Siblings, twins, identical. Are they identical? No. What's the next ones then? Siblings, brothers and sisters here. So the makhraj is close, meaning the same makhraj. Is mim and ra same makhraj? No. Ma, lips, tongue. They're not the same makhraj, so put that one out the way. Last one is relatives. Are they close? No. Yeah, because one from the lips, that's one part of the mouth, and one from the tip of the tongue. So it's impossible to do idgham. Yeah, to do idgham, it must be twins or relatives, siblings or relatives, cousins. It has to fit into one of these categories. If it doesn't, then you're just going to do what on this meme? Meme sakna, what do you do? Ikhfa shafi. Yeah? So you're going to do the ikhfa shafi on this. And that's it, simple. Any questions on that? Any questions? Everyone understood, yeah? So page 77, you've got the diagram there, but if you turn over to page 79, 8 and 9. On the page 78, you could read that through in your own time, and it gives you the names of each letter, how they're written out. Like Jim, Dal, Sin, yeah? So you can see which letters have three names. So three letters in the name. And then the second one, there are two other letters that are also Mad Lazim harfi, but the middle letter is lean, which are Ain and Ghain. Okay? Now Ghain, we don't need to worry about. It doesn't come in the Quran. There's no huruf al-muqatta'at, beginning of any surah that says Ghain. There ain't one. So we don't need to worry about like Ba, there ain't one. Ta, there ain't one. We don't need to worry about them. We don't need to worry about certain letters here because they are found at the beginning of the surah. The letter Ain is there. In Surah Maryam, Kaf, Ha, Ya, Ain, Sad. Okay? So Ain is there. So Ain is quite important to us. Okay? That's the only Mad Leen, which is Mad Lazim, Harfi, and it's going to be Mukhaffaf. Because it's not Idgham. Yeah? We're just doing Ikhfa on the Noon. Yeah? And the Ikhfa, how are we doing the Ikhfa? Ikhfa means to conceal and hide, remember? We're going to have to hide the Noon of the Ain. How are we hiding it? In the letter after it, which is Qaf, full mouth. So, Ain, Qaf. Makes sense? Ain, Qaf. The third one shows there's one letter that in its name, in the middle of the three letters in its name, the middle one is not mad letter like alif, which we mentioned. And the fourth one, all the letters that only have what? Mad asli in there. And the fifth one, Hamza. Hamza is the only letter that has four letters in its name. Ham, Ha, Mim, Zain, and the Ta marbuta or Ha at the end. Kaf, Ha, Ya, Ain, Sad. Sorry, my mistake. Page number 79. 79 is everything that we've covered on the board yesterday and today. So you can see the spider diagram or the mind map, whatever you want to describe it as. So Mad in red at the top is singular, Mudud, Jam'a, plural, divided into two categories, Asli and Tabi'i. Asli and Fara'i. Asli, original, also known as tabi'i. The primary mud. Now the primary mud, meaning the asl, is the original. And there's three of them, which were the Y, waw, alif, ya, or alif, waw, ya, or ya, alif, waw, whichever sequence you prefer. And they're found in one word, nuhiha, simple. That's the first, it's all in green, mad asli. The goldy, yellowy color, you've got the far'i. Yeah? And that's the offshoot. Yeah? So remember what I said about asl, meaning the tree trunk. Branches is the far'i. Yeah? So here's written offshoot. Offshoot meaning the branches. There are five. Mad Mutasil, for example, malaika. You could never ever make that short. You can't read Tanazzalul malaika. No. Yeah? Yawma yakumur ruhu wal malaikatu saf. You can't make it short. So malaika, you have to read it long. And how many haraka is that? 7, 8, 4. Okay. Munfasil. Munfasil is the next one, which is divided in two different words like ma, anta. Ma means what, anta, you. Two different words. What's the hukm of this? How long do you have to read the mad munfasil? 2 or 4. Then you've got mad al-badal, where it's changed amanu or imanan, 2 haraka. And mad arid li-sakun, excellent. And then mad lazim, 6. Now, so if the mad lazim is 6, that means how long are these ones? They're all 6. All of them. Why? Because they're all mad lazim. As soon as we say the mad lazim is 6 harakat, that means all of these are 6. Even walad daleen, you can't make it short. Walad daleen. And then leen, you can make it 6 as well if you want. Why? Arid li sukun. Yeah? You can make it 6, you can make it 4, you can make it 2. You can read it as walad daleen.
It's better to make one forehead.
No, up to you. But keep it consistent. So if you Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen was 6, right, then walad daleen, keep it at 6 as well. So keep it consistent. Mad lazim is then divided into 2 groups. Yeah? Which are kalimi, yeah? Kill me. That should have been kill me in English. So it's a typo. Not kalimi. It should be kill me from the word kilma. Kalima word. So it should be kill me. So lazim, kill me. You must kill me. Then you got mad lazim harfi. One is in a harf. And then each one of these two are divided into mukhaffaf and musaqqal. Mukhaffaf and musaqqal. Make sense? Okay. Over the page, you've got some examples there, and you can write out what types of mud are they. So like alif, lam, mim. So which one's been highlighted? The meme on the first one. Is that, which category would you throw that into? Why musaqqal? No, wrong. No, the first one, number 1. So madde, lazim, harfi, is it mukhaffaf or musaqqal? No. It's not musaqqal. Mukhaffaf, why? It's got sukoon. The shadda is for the mad before it, which is the lam. The lam mad here, lam. But the meme, remember the meme, we're talking about this one here. The last meme. Last noon's got Sukun on it. Makes sense? It's this one here. But now if you look at number 2, which was highlighted? Now it's Lam. Now it's going to be Musakkal. So on this page, the first one is Mukhaffaf. The second one is Musakkal. Why? In the first one, look. Alif Lam Mim. Mim. Light. But the second one, now we're looking at the Lam Mad. The Lam Mad is heavy. Why? Alif Lam. The M is part of the previous one, not the one coming. Because the Mim, I haven't even said it yet. I haven't even come to the Mim part yet. We're still on the Lam. So Alif Lam. Musakkal is done now. Yeah? Then Mim Kasra, Mi. So the Lam Mad is finished. Now we're on the Mim Mad. The Mim Mad, there is a Sukun. It's Mim. Empty. So the number 1 is Mukhaffaf. Number 2 is Musakkal. Then Kaf, Ha, Ya, Ain, Sad. What's Sad at the end? So each red one, you got to tell me which one it is. They're all harfi. All of these are harfi. Why? Because they're all letters. All of these are letters from the beginning of the Quran. Yeah? These are all letters. So you forget all about this. Because these were wala dalin, you know that. Wherever you see it now, where there's a mad and there's tashdid after it, you know you're going to do it heavy. And just look out for this one word in the Quran. That's it. That's not hard. The hard ones are here, harfi. Yeah? Especially this one here. So the Sad, number 3, Musakkal or Mukhaffaf. Mukhaffaf. Yeah? Because look, it's only going to be Musakkal if there's an Idgham. So Sad is red, that means there must be another letter after it to do Idgham. Warna, it's at the end of the word. Yeah. Okay. Khalaqal Jan. Musakkal. Which category does that fall into? Is it harfi or kalmi? It's a word. Look. Surah Rahman. Khalaqal Jan. It's going to be Kilmi. Kilmi. Is it Mukhaffaf or Musakkal? It has to be Musakkal because it can't be that one. Because it's only one word. Yeah? And it's got tashdid after the mad. Yeah. Simple. Okay. Mudhammatan. Same. Okay. Noon wal qalami wa ma yastarun. Halfi mukhaffaf. Excellent. What are dalin? Kill me. Not kalmi. Kill me. Kill me. Musakkal. Good. Al-haqqa. The same. Same thing. If it's in a word, there's each one, word or harfi, there's going to be 2. Yeah? So if it's in kill me category, it can't be mukhaffaf unless it's al-ana. There's no other word like it. Yeah? So if it's kill me, it's going to have to be musakkal. Yeah? There's no other option. Okay, noon wal qalami wa ma yastarun. Oh, sorry, qaf wal Quran al-Majid. Harfi mukhaffaf. Okay, ha, mim, mim. Mukhaffaf. Okay, ain and then sin with the qaf. Why? With the idgham. Because sin, you're doing what at the end? Ikhfa. Sin, qaf, sad. حرفي مخفف here because there's no idgham in there. Perfect. Chalo, as long as you got an idea of it now, yeah. Sisters, make sense? Any questions? Okay. Alhamdulillah. Okay. Two things here I want to mention which are not in the Tuhfat al-Atfal. Noon wal qalami wa ma yastarun. Yeah? And Yasin. Let me write these two out. So Noon wal qalami. Yasin wal Quran al-Hakim. Which one is that? Yeah, Noon. Which Mad Lazim is that? Harfi Mukhaffaf. Yasin. Seen. Same. What's after both of these two? Wow. Yeah? Well, these two, in the riwayah of Hafs, the one that we recite, you have two options. Either you recite it as Noon wal qalam. Yeah? Yasin wal Quran. You're reading the Noon, innit? Yeah? You're doing idhar, not idhar, ikhwan it. Okay? But what's the ruling? Noon sakina with a waw after it. What do you do? You're maloon letter, innit? So Noon sakina. So imagine the Noon here is Noon sakina after it. What? What is he supposed to do? Noon sakina the waw after it. What's the rule? Yarmalun idgham. Idgham don't want to leave us. Yeah? Not the idgham. How would you do the idgham here then? Again, that's good. Yeah. So read the Noon, read the Mad. Noon wal qalami wa ma yastarun. Yasin. Has the Noon at the end as well? Yasin, na. With the Yarmalun letter after it. How you can read it? Yasin wal Quran al-Hakim. Make sense? That is also permissible. And I forgot to say, did you know again? Did you know you could do the Gham here as well? The next time you recite Surah Yasin, do that. And if somebody listen to them like, huh? Jiji, you read it wrong. And then you can tell them, did you know you can do idgham here? In Hafs, in the qiraat that we're doing. I'm not mixing you up. So, Yasin wal Quran al-Hakim. Noon wal qalami wa ma yastarun. So this is permissible, it's jaiz, it's in our Tajweed books. In our qiraat, and it should be taught. And it should be recited this way as well. Shouldn't be deprived.
The rule applies.
The rule applies and it's sunnah as well. Everything, all Tajweed is sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. And if it's sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, it means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did this. Because there's a kalamullah in it. So, you should do that.
Say, if someone that method, they have to have that continuation.
No, it's only on these.
Only on that.
Only on these two surahs.
On them too.
Only on this Noon and this Noon. Why?
Okay.
Because Taha, there's no Noon there. Alif Lam Mim, there's no Noon there. Do you understand? Here it applies. Why? Because Noon Sakina with a Yarmalun letter after it. Noon Sakina with a Yarmalun letter after it. Only applies on these two surah. Surah Qalam and Surah Yasin. It doesn't apply on any other surah. Just these two surahs. Surah. Shu'ba, yeah. Even Hafs. Even in Hafs. Is that okay? Any questions? Good. Page 81. So then they mention وَاللَّازِمُ الْحَرْفِيٌّ أَوَّلَ السُّوَرِ. See here the word they use, suwar. Suwar means surahs. In English, surahs. وَجُودُهُ وَفِي ثَمَانٍ حَصَرٍ. So this mentioned that Mad Lazim harfi. We're talking about this one here. Mad Lazim harfi. Yeah? Where does it come? Awwal al-Suwar. They come in the beginning of the surahs. So these here, what we're talking about, Qaf and Alif Lam Mim and Yasin and Noon and Taha, they only come in the beginning of the surah. Wujuduhu, its existence, are combined, limited to what? في ثمانٍ حصر, in 8 letters. يجمعها, we have gathered them, حروف, its letters, in what? كم عسل نقص. Kaf, Mim, Ain, Sin, Lam, Noon, Qaf, and Sad. Okay. Then they mention وَعَيْنُ ذُو وَجْهَيْنِ. Ain has 2 faces, meaning there's 2 options on Ain. وَالطُّولُ أَخَص, and it's better that you make it longer, meaning you could make it tawassut, 4 harakah, or you can make it 6 harakah. So remember we said Mad Lazim is how many harakah? 6. Yep. Except for Ain. Ain you could recite it as 4 or 6. Ain, why it's 4? Because there is Mad lean in there. Yeah? When you read Kaf Ha Ya Ain Sa, make it shorter, no problem. So Ain, you can make it short to 4 harakah. Okay, only Ain. Why? Because Madalin in there. That's its beauty. Yeah? Everything else is 6. وَمَا سِوَى الْحَرْفِ ثُلَاثِي لَا أَلِفٍ. Then mention that all of the Thulathi named letters, like Alif, Jim, Sheen, yeah, Kaf, where they've got 3 letters in the name, La Alif, except for Alif, because Alif doesn't have a mad letter in it. They mention فَمُدُّهُ مَدًّا طَبِيعِيًّا أُلِف. Yeah? In the remaining, the mad is known as Mad Tabi'i. وذاك أيضا في فواتح السور, and just like that in the beginning of the surah, في لفظ حي طاهر, ha, ya, ta, and ha and ra. These are what? Mad Tabi'i, Qadin Hasar, they've brought together. ويجمع فواتح, we have combined them in total. 14, there are 14. سرح سحير من قطعك ذا اشتهر. That's the whole code. So basically Sad, Lam, Ha, Sin, Ha, Ya, Ra, Mim, Noon, Qaf, Ta, all of them. Sirhu Suhayran Man Qata'aka. There are 14 letters in total. If you turn the page over, you'll see them there. The letters which come at the start of the Quranic chapters are known as Al-Huruf Al-Mukatta'at. They can be divided into 3 categories according to the type of mad inside them. Either it's going to be Mad Lazim, Al-Harfi, or it's going to be Mad Asli, or no mad. Yeah? Okay, so Mad Lazim Harfi is going to be which one? Look at them there. Kam Asal Naqas. Yeah? Mad Lazim Al-Harfi. Then look at Mad Asli, Hayyin Tahur. Yeah? But in the poem it says Tahir. That alif is not included. Okay? So how many letters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only these 5 letters are found in the Quran as Huruf al-Muqatta'at. And Kam Asal Naqas, the first one at the top here, the Mad al-Lazim al-Harfi, all of them are found as Huruf al-Muqatta'at. And then you've got Alif. Alif is also one of the huruf al-muqatta'at, okay, but there's no mud in it. Surah Baqarah, Alif, Lam, Mim. So Alif is there. Same with Alif, Lam, Ra. So every single letter that can be found as huruf al-muqatta'at will have some sort of mad except for Alif. Make sense? Any questions on that? Everyone's tired. So am I, and so is Shaykh Sulaiman al-Jamzuri. So he says here, وَتَمَّ ذَا النَّظْمُ بِحَمْدِ اللَّهِ. Shukr, alhamdulillah, is finished, it's done. We've completed it. We've achieved it. Yeah? So he mentions here, وَتَمَّ ذَا النَّظْمُ. And we have completed this poem. Alhamdulillah. You know when you're tired and at the end, alhamdulillah, it's done. Shukr, finished. Go home, relax. Don't have to come here tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock or next week. I can sleep in till Dhuhr.
The sound, you know how you.
وتم ذا النظم بحمد الله على تمامه بلا تناهي أبياته ند بدل ذنها تاريخها بشرى لمن يتقنها ثم الصلاة والسلام أبدا على ختام الأنبياء أحمدا والآل والصحب وكل تابعي وكل قارئ وكل سامعي. Alhamdulillah. So وَتَمَّ ذَا النَّظْمُ بِحَمْدِ اللَّهِ. Alhamdulillah, we've completed the poem. عَلَى تَمَامِهِ بِلَا تَنَاهِ. So when we say we completed the poem, does that mean that we've completed the subject and that's it, we're Qaris now? We're going to go back home now and become Abdul Basits and we're going to get Zinatul Quran, Fakhrul Quran, Ustadul Quran, all the titles. Is that what we're going to do now? So they mention here that even though that we're finishing continuously for its accomplishment. So we're thanking Allah for its what? Thanking Allah continuously. Yeah? For its what? Accomplishment. But it doesn't mean that we are Qaris now. Okay? It does not mean we are Qaris now. Then they mention Abiyatuhu naddum bada lidhinnuha. Abiyatuha or Abiyatuhu, its couplets, yeah, are clearly what? Musk. Yeah? They are clearly naddum bada. They have fragrance. Its couplets have fragrance, beautiful. Lidhinnuha. Sulaiman Jamzuri kick again at the end. It's for the intellectual ones, the ones who understand. Tarikhuha, its date. Bushra, it's good news. Yeah? For who? Liman yutqinuha, for those who have certain knowledge of it. Yeah? Me, not for the jahil students, for the intellectual students, for the smart students. Yeah? That even the date of this poem is a great news. And I'll explain to you why. Then they mention ثُمَّ الصَّلَاةُ وَالسَّلَامُ, and then the salawat and salam abadan, always, upon who? عَلَى خِتَامِ الْأَنْبِيَاءِ, upon the seal of all the prophets. Means there's no prophet after Ahmada, which is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وَالْآلِ وَالصَّحْبِ وَكُلِّ تَابِعٍ, and upon the family of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وَالصَّحْبِ, and his companions. وَكُلِّ تَابِعِ, and every one who follows. Who follows who? Who follows the Sahaba, who follows the Ahl al-Bayt, who follows the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then they mention وَكُلِّ قَارِئٍ, and every single reciter as well. meaning you and I. Yeah? Or if you can't recite, وَكُلِّ سَامِعٍ, and every listener, the one who listens to Quran, meaning he is connected to the Quran somehow. Either he recites the Quran, if you can't recite it, he listens to the Quran. Yeah? So may Allah send salawat upon all of them. Now verse number 2, أَبْيَاتُهُ نَدٌّ بَدَى لِذِنُّهَا, that its verses are clearly must for the intellectual ones. So let's all try to become intellectual and turn the page over. Okay? Let's become intellectuals. Let's not take the Jamzuri kick. In Arabic, every letter in the Arabic alphabet فَتَارِيخُهَا بُشْرَى لِمَنْ يُتْقِنُهَا. At the top of page 84. If you look at the table here, the Arabic alphabet is written in its original form. Arabic alphabet in its original form was Alif, Ba, Jim, Dal, Ha, Waw, Zain, Ha, Ta, Ya. That was the format originally. The order. That was the original Arabic alphabet. Alif had the value of 1, Ba the value of 2, Jim value of 3, Dal 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Goes all the way up to 10, which is Ya, in the first line. Second line, then it jumps in tens. So from 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Then it jumps in hundreds. So Qaf is 100, okay? Ra 200, and then it goes on to the heaviest and the mightiest letter, which is the letter Ghain, right at the end, 1000. So these were the numerical values of every single letter. So you know when you see this phrase 786, and you say, yeah, it's Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and somebody says to you, no, it's not, it's 786. How's that Bismillah? So now if you write Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim out in your own time, and underneath the Ba, find its number, write it. Seen, write it. Meme, write it. Write the whole Bismillah, add it all up on your calculator. It'll come to 786. No. Ulama don't do random things. Yeah? 786 is basically the numerical value of Basmala. Okay? The reason why they did that, because if you throw Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim written on a piece of paper on the floor or on something, it's disrespectful. Yeah? And we write Basmala on everything. This is the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, كُلُّ أَمْرٍ ذِي بَالٍ لَمْ يُبْدَأْ بِبِسْمِ اللَّهِ فَهُوَ أَقْطَعُ. Any action you begin with, yeah, without Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, what's going to happen? فَهُوَ يَقْطَعُ. It's going to be cut. Meaning cut of barakah. You won't be able to complete it. And if you do complete it, no barakah, no fa'idah. That's the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. So everything you must start with Basmala. So if you're starting everything with Basmala, so that could be writing a book, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Writing a letter, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Doing anything is Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And what happens to that letter at the end? On the floor, here, there and everywhere. That's when the ulama put it down as a numerical value 786. So whoever looks at 786, he doesn't read it as 786, Dear Muhammad. No, 786, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Dear Muhammad. So everyone's going to see it and read Bismillah. Okay? This was and it's not just here. Even like Arabs love abbreviating things. Yeah? And this 786 wasn't made by a Pakistani Maulvi. Don't get twisted. These were the old Arab scholars. Yeah? I'm talking about even before Islam, this was being done in codes, before Islam as well. Because this Alif, Ba, Jim, Dal format was here before Islam, before the Prophet ﷺ, this sequence. Okay? Yeah, numeral values there. No, but Arabic alphabet was available before Islam as well, Jahiliyyah times. So why did Quran use Arabic alphabet? Yeah? Everything's, so whatever's good, we've taken it. Eid. Jews used to do Eid. Yeah. The companions came and complained to the Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, look, they're celebrating and wearing nice gowns, and what about us? Then we also were blessed with the Eid. Jews before, they were fasting as well. We fast. They prayed before in the Jahiliyyah times. We pray as well. So it doesn't mean if it's come from there that we have to leave it. Yeah. So here now, look at the Tarikhuha Bushra. The word Bushra, liman yutkinuha. Imam Sulaiman al-Jamzuri rahimahullah wrote that out. When you write the numerical values out, which has already been done for you, it comes to 1198 Hijri. That was the year they wrote this poem in. Yeah? Where it says Bushra, liman yutkinuha. Underneath the table, if you look underneath the table, yutkinuha. Just underneath the table, it's been done for you. Yeah? And when you do the numerical value, it comes to 1198. And that was the Hijri they completed the poem in. They coded that in there. Why did they code it in there? For the intellectual one will know that Shaykh Sulaiman al-Jamzuri finished his poem in this year. Then in the next bit, what did they write? This poem was written in the year 1198 Hijri. The number of couplets in this poem. You know, in the poem they mention Abiyatuhu Naddum Bada. Yeah? Are clearly musked. The khushbu. The couplets are clearly musked. What do they mean by that? Check up Abiyatuha Naddum Bada, it comes to 61. Yeah? Number 61. Meaning there are 61 couplets in this poem. There are how many couplets, how many lines in this poem? 61 in total. How do we know that? Because they wrote that there themselves. Now if somebody adds a couplet, makes his own, tries to change it, they can't. You understand? So all of the ulama did this. Majority of the poems, okay, including Burda, including Jazariya, Shatabiya, Taybat al-Nashr, all the ulama, they've coded in their works. Yeah, they've copyrighted the works, so no one can change it, how many verses they are. So you have to study the matun, the manzumat, and then work them out. Okay, that's why they've mentioned this. Okay, if everyone can read Surah Fatiha once for Shaykh Sulaiman al-Jamzuri rahimahullah. Okay, I'm going to quickly go. We've got half an hour, so I'm not going to let you go earlier, 20 minutes. So in this 20 minutes, I did say I'm going to go through the history of Arabic language. So I'll try to go through that as quick as I can. So basically, the last 5 minutes. Before, Alhamdulillah, I've written what Darul Qura has written. Its own qaida, a new qaida. So do dua, inshallah, we'll release it before September. And in the introduction, I'll be talking about what I'm going to be telling you now. There we are. Okay. The Arabic language, texts, letters. So on that page, at the end where the table is, you've seen the numerical values, abjad. So Arabic alphabet was known as abjadiyya. Abjadiyya. Yeah? Abjadiyya. That was the original form. But let's look at the original two scripts. So it mentions here Al-Khattu Khaytul Hikmah. The script, this is not in the book now. This is going to be in the Qaida. Parts of this will be abbreviated for children and teachers. So script is a thread of wisdom. Yeah? Script is a thread of wisdom. The origins of Arabic script. Okay, so among the Arabs prior to Islam, okay, before Islam was spread, as argued by Ibn Sa'd. Ibn Sa'd was one of the scholars, passed away about 230 Hijri. He mentions, وَكَانَتِ الْكِتَابَةِ فِي الْعَرَبِ قَلِيلًا. Amongst the Arabs, writing was qalil. Arabs didn't know how to write. This is before Islam. And Ahmad ibn Faris, he writes, وَمَا الْعَرْبُ فِي قَدِيمِ الزَّمَانِ إِلَّا كَنَحْنُ الْيَوْمِ. They go that the Arabs, were not, Arabs of the past were not except like us today. I mean, even today we can't do what? فَمَا كُلٌّ يَعْرِفُ الْكِتَابَةِ. Not all of them knew how to write. وَالْخَطِّ وَالْقِرَاءَ. Yeah? Even reciting, they didn't know. Hence why after the Battle of Badr, which happened approximately a few days ago, 1400 years ago, at that time, the Sahaba couldn't read or write. The Prophet ﷺ, when they captured the kuffar, what did they tell them? Teach, one kafir, one disbeliever who was captured, teach 10 Muslims how to read and write and you're free. Work for your own freedom. Meaning we don't want money from you, we don't want wealth. We wanted knowledge. So Prophet ﷺ gave preference to knowledge over wealth. Yeah? At that time, Muslims were very weak in reading and writing. Even before Islam, Arabs especially were very, very slow in reading and writing. So who mentioned this? Ibn Faris, 395 years after Hijrah. So now let's look at Arabic language. Where did Arabic language come from? The origins of Arabic writing is widely disputed, with a lot of random claims. Different people are claiming different things about Arabic language. For example, it has been narrated by Ka'b that the first person to coin the Arabic, or Syriac, and all other scripts was Adam alayhi salam. And Adam alayhi salam was the first person to write any bit of Arabic. 300 years prior to his death. 300 years before Adam alayhi salam passed away. He wrote them on clay and baked them in fire. Adam alayhi salam. After the world recovered from the floods of Nuh alayhi salam. Adam alayhi salam, 300 years before he passed away, the Nuh alayhi salam, then each person found the clay, found the language. So every nation found its clay tablet and wrote it accordingly. Likewise, it has also been claimed that Ibn Abbas said that the origins of Arabic script were laid down by Prophet Ismail alayhi salam. That's another theory. It was Ismail alayhi salam who started it off. Some have claimed that a group of kings were part of this. Now if you open your tables back up again, everyone get your tables. It's very interesting. What are the first 4 letters? What are the first 4 letters? Abjad. That was the first king. What are the second 3 letters? Hawaz. That was the second king. These are names. Hawaz. What's the next 3 letters? Hutti. Hutti was another king. What are the next 4 letters? Kalamun. Kalamun was another king. And then the next 4 letters. Sa'fas. That was another king. And the next one, the last one, the 4 letters again. Next 4. Qaf, Ra, Shin, Ta, Qarashat. So up to Qarashat, these were the names of the kings. So how many kings are there now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kings. These 6 kings got their names, put them together and made Arabic alphabet. But there's some letters missing at the end. How many? No, more. 6 letters. Tha, Kha, Dal, Dad, Dha and Ghain. These letters were added into Arabic language afterwards. Yeah? Okay. Which are not found in the names, were added afterwards and called here Ar-Rawadif. Yeah? These were called Ar-Rawadif and they were added into Arabic alphabet afterwards. Ibn Jini, who passed away 392 years after Hijrah, differs and writes that the Arabic script was a derivative of another language called Al-Musnad. He disagrees with all of this. He says, no, all these are theories and I'm not going to agree with them. And Arabic language is a derivative, is derived from another language called Al-Musnad. Okay? وَاعْلَمْ أَنَّ الْعَرَبَ قَدْ سَمَّتْ هَذَا الْخَطْ الْمُؤَلَّفَ مِنْ هَذِهِ الْحُرُوفِ الْجَزْمِ قال أبو حاتم إنما سمي جزما لأنه جزم من المسند. Okay? He mentions, know that the Arabs call the script which consists of letters al-jazm. You know what jazm is? That's where it comes from, jazm. Yeah? So it mentions that it consists of these letters al-jazm. Ibn Hatim, he says that it was called al-jazm, which literally means cut off. Yeah? Jazm means cut off. Like when we say jazm in Quran, meaning cut off sound, there's no sound to it, Sukun. Because it was derived from another language called al-Musnad. He said al-Musnad was a script of the Himayr in the days of the ruler. So Himayr was another tribe. Okay, during their rule, the language or the language of Muslims was around. So Arabic is a derivative of that. Anyway, there's loads of other theories. So I've mentioned a few. I'm looking at time. So the order of the Arabic alphabet now: Alif, Ba, Jim, Dal, Abjad. This format. So where does this format come from? Pre-Islam. Okay? So somebody can argue about the numerology. They should argue about the whole Arabic alphabet then, even the language itself then. Okay. Now, so I've got the Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim here. I'll do that out for you quickly. So Bismillah is 2 plus 60 plus 40 equals to 102. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's name is 1 plus 30 plus 30 plus 5 equals to 66. Ar-Rahman is 1 plus 30 plus 200 plus 8 plus 40 plus 50 equals 329. Ar-Rahim is 1 plus 30 plus 200 plus 8 plus 10 plus 4 equals 229. Takbir. Done. Does that show Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim in the form of 786? Okay. Let's continue quickly. Okay. Now let's go to dots and vowels. Okay. So where did these dots and vowels, Fatha, Dhamma, Kasra, Zabar, Zer, Pesh, where does all of this come from? Okay. You don't have to remember everything. I'm just giving it as your general knowledge. When your qaida comes out, you can read it.
I just noticed that Allah's name is 60.
Names, Allah. Takbir. Okay, true. Okay, the Arabic language did not have vowels or dots in the pre-Islamic age. Before Islam, Arabic language looked like, for example, it would be like, for example, Even that, but I've written this quite nice actually. This would have been like all over scribbles. You couldn't really understand it. The development of the Arabic script to its current form, which has dots, vowels, largely took place after the revelation, after Iqra bismi rabbikal ladhi khalaq. Thus, at the time of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Quran was empty from dots and vowels. No fatha, dhamma, kasra, and no dots. Imam Abu Amr ad-Dani, who passed away 444 years after Hijri, he narrates. I'm not going to read the Arabic, okay? I'll give the story itself. They mention that Amir Muawiyah, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, the ruler, okay, the Amir, wrote to Ziyad. He wrote to Ziyad asking for Ubaidullah. Ubaidullah is the son of Ziyad. He asks him to come. When Ubaid came and spoke, when Ubaid came to who? To Amir Muawiyah. And he spoke to Amir Muawiyah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Amir Muawiyah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu noticed that he was making loads of mistakes in his Arabic language. He couldn't speak Arabic properly. Okay? So then he sent him back to Ziyad, his father. Okay? Sent him back to his father. And he wrote a letter telling his father to slap him, punish him. How dare your son not speak Arabic properly? You know, we say wagwan rather than what's going on. So like you're destroying the language. Yeah, that's not how you speak. So speak, clearly. So he was like, like youth and chilling out, and this is destroying the language. So Amir Muawiyah asked his father, wrote a letter to him to punish Ziyad. So Ziyad sent a request. Sorry, one second. Okay. He wrote, to reprimand Ubaidullah the son. So then, now Ziyad didn't want to waste any time. He wanted to do something about this. So Ziyad then sent for Abu al-Aswad al-Du'li. Abu al-Aswad al-Du'li was a humongous scholar of grammar in his time. He said to Abu al-Aswad al-Du'li that the non-Arabs, okay, the Hamras, the non-Arabs, they are destroying our language. They're coming into Islam, they're becoming Muslims, and all of a sudden, they're bringing their lingo into it. Yeah? Like the word is window, and the Punjabis will say winda. Yeah? They're changing it, door. Yeah? They're changing it, darwaza, bua, whatever. They're destroying it in their own accent, Accrington, Blackburn, Manchester, Birmingham. Yeah? So they're destroying the accent and the fluency of the language. So they've ruined the language of Arabs. Can you compile something which people can use to mend their speech and vowelize the book of Allah? So who's asking this? Ziyad. Who's he asking? He's asking who? Abu al-Aswad al-Du'li. That do some sort of bid'ah and change the Quran and give it some vowels and dots and fatah and dhamma kasra. What do you think Abu al-Aswad al-Du'li responded? See you later. You want me to change the Quran? Na'udhu billah. How dare you ask me? So he left it. But Ziyad wanted this done though. So what did Ziyad then do? He got some random person and he said, go and sit outside Abu al-Aswad al-Du'li's house, yeah, and deliberately recite the Quran wrong. So when he comes out of his house, he's going to hear recite the Quran wrong. Then he's going to realize that the world's moving on, people are coming into Islam, they're changing Arabic. So that's exactly what happened. So this person went, sat outside Abu al-Aswad al-Du'li's house, started reciting the Quran incorrectly. Okay? Abu al-Aswad al-Du'li came outside, heard the Quran, Astaghfirullah. Who taught you that? How dare you recite like that? So he's shocked, corrects his Quran, straight away goes back to Ziyad. Abu al-Aswad al-Du'li. He goes, I'm ready. Let's bring it. Let's put the vowelization onto the Quran. I'm ready to do this. Then what happened? Abu al-Aswad al-Du'li asked for 30 people. He goes, I want the 30 best reciters, knowledgeable people from the area. They brought the 30 people together And then he checked all of them, he narrowed them down to 10. Then he tested them again, narrowed it down to one person only. Okay? So with that one person, Abu al-Aswad al-Du'li said, okay, you sit in front of me and let's write the Quran now. I'm going to recite the Quran. Okay, I'm going to recite the Quran. You look at my lips, and according to my lips, I want you to put a dot. Okay, so how was that done now? He mentions, take the mushaf and ink, which is different to the color of the ink of the Quran. Okay, and he mentions, then if I open my lips, add a dot above the letter, meaning a fatha. Dot on top. Okay? Then it says, and if I make my lips round, then add a dot to the side of the letter. And then it said, if I lower my lips, place a dot underneath the letter, kasra. So that was your original fatha, dhamma and kasra. A dot above, a dot to the side, or dot beneath. Then he said, and if I follow any vowels with a ghunna, add 2 dots. A ghunna would be 2 dots. Okay? So he started from the start of the mushaf until the end. So Abu al-Aswad al-Du'li recited the Quran. So he recited like Alhamdu lillahi rabbil, doing the phonetics and completed the whole Quran. So the Quran had dots. So which were the first dots of the Quran? Fatha, Dhamma, Kasra. Remember, the letters are not dotted. So what have I written here? You could probably guess now it's wa min, because we've memorized it. And you can recognize that as nas. Yeah? But if I wrote this, what's that? Could it be a sin? Could it be a ba, noon, ta? That could be noon, ba, ta. It could be anything. It could be a double noon. So it's impossible to work it out. Hence why the non-Arabs were making mistakes. So the first thing that came on were the fatha, dhamma and kasras in the form of dots. The actual dots of the letters weren't even in existence. Okay, the dots added by Abu al-Aswad al-Du'li were called Naqtul al-I'rab. Okay, Noon, Qaf, Ta. Okay, Naqtul al-I'rab. 2 students of Abu al-Aswad al-Du'li, okay, known as Nasr bin Asim and Yahya bin Ya'mar. They further developed the script by differentiating between the similar letters from the dots, using dots, which were called Naqtul al-I'jam. So 2 students, Abu al-Aswad al-Du'li passed away now. His 2 students, they put the ba dot underneath, ta dot on top, sheen 3 dots, tha 3 dots. So that was the students of Abu al-Aswad al-Du'li, 2 students. They combined together and they brought the dots in. Okay, once the dots were done, okay, the system continued for about a century. So 100 years passed by. However, this system posed challenges. What were the challenges, do you reckon? The Fatha, Dhamma, Kasra is a dot. And the students have put more dots in there. Sheen's got 3 dots. Ta's got 2 dots on top. Ghunna has 2 dots. So how do you know, is this a ta or is it a ghunna now? Tashdid. They're all getting confused. There's so many people making so many different variations to Quran. Okay? So it needed to be revamped again. Okay? Idgham indicator of the vowels, linguistic, grammarian. Okay. Then he came down to somebody called Khalil bin Ahmad Farahidi. Okay. It came to his time, who passed away 170 years after Hijri. For the Fatha, which was previously a dot above the letter, he used a small angled alif. So you know the dot above, that's an alif in it, but he angled it and he made it like that. Okay. And he changed the dhamma, which is a dot to the side, into a small waw. This little waw became a waw. Why? Boo, boo. He made it into like a small pesh, little waw. The pesh used to be a small little waw. And then the kasra was the head of a ya. You know, like if you write ya out like this, you know this part here, head, that became the ya. Mushaddad, okay, it's from the word shidda. Shidda, yeah? So you know this first W, that became the tashdeed. Why? Because ghunna is shidda in it. You're pressing it. That's the word. So the head of that, they started using that as a shad. And so forth. Arabic language then developed. Okay? Then after their time, it was developed from alif ba abjad format into alif ba ta sa format. Okay? So it helped the non-Arabs to recognize that ba, ta, sa, both, dots differ, jim, ha, kha, same. That's the alif ba ta sa came into form. That came after this. Okay? And then since then till this year, it's always been in that format. Inshallah, when September our Qaida comes out, it'll have a new format. So the 2022, yeah, the 21st century, yeah, it'll have a new format. So new bid'ah. So we'll have loads of people arguing with me, no, why have you done that for? I'm trying to challenge my logic. But I've changed it again now. So when the Qaida comes out in September, it'll have a whole, it won't be alif ba ta sa or alif be te se. Yeah, it's going to be totally different, and it's going to help you, and it's going to make your life easy when you're teaching children. From the age of 5, you could teach them with Tajweed. You could teach them makharij and sifat perfectly. Yeah, and you're skipping about 20 lessons of like Madani Qaida or Nurani Qaida, and yeah, which have loads of discrepancies and whatnot. That's basically the history of Arabic language. Any questions? Okay. Inshallah, I'm going to add the test paper for the Tuhfat al-Atfal onto the Telegram group. So I think everyone should be on the Telegram group, or someone's got a link on there. Yeah? Darul Qurra IRC. Yeah, on Telegram, Darul Qurra IRC. So we've got our own Telegram. I think the exam paper might already be on there, the previous one. On this one, we're going to change slightly. I'll do the exam paper and I'll put it onto there. You could take it, you could do it, and you could send it back. So the exam paper, once you've done it, there's going to be loads of students from abroad. So I'm probably going to take a month to mark them all. So it'll take me a bit of time. As soon as I've marked them, we'll write the ijazas out, inshallah, and we'll post them or email them, whichever way you prefer. On the exam paper, you've got your name, address, telephone number, and email address. And then you've got an option to tick. You want it emailed or you want it posted. If it's emailed, it works out free for Darul Qur'an. If you want it posted, it costs Darul Qur'an, but it's still free for you, inshallah. Hope that makes sense.
Everybody use the from day one. Send them
Yeah, we could have that, yeah.
if they're not already on it, I will send that as well. Khani was here, there was a because it's a Allah ma yarzuqu ni'ami billah Prophet love Allah